but it is time to transition this call. So ladies and gentlemen, I am about to turn this call over. This call is your RX for Forex. I'm so excited for you all this evening because the gentleman that I'm about to transition this call to, he has his PhD in finance and economics. He is helping a lot of people and having a lot of fun while doing so. So it brings me great pleasure to turn this call over to none other than Dr. Craig Bythewood. Dr. Bythewood, are you on the line?
Yes, I am, Miss Tasha M. Dyer. Thank you very much for introducing me. I hope everyone is having a great week. Day 4 in our quest to be abundant and put ourselves in a position this week to create generational wealth, to continue to ascend, to continue to do what we're doing. Welcome to a talk with the finance doctor, your RX for Forex. As I stated on Tuesday, for those of you who were in attendance, the purpose of this call is for us to speak mindset, is to speak life into this vehicle that we have access to, this $6.6 trillion a day vehicle. That's 11 trillion when we add the cryptocurrency space. We are finally at the table. We finally have an opportunity to be able to do what the big dogs have been doing for centuries. And so it's exciting that we literally have an opportunity to be at home, to self-quarantine, to stay healthy, to stay well, but continue to make money, continue to put ourselves in the best position. And I think if we're really honest about it, of course, all of my comments have an asterisk on it because people are suffering, people are passing away. It is definitely serious. But if we can think about it, this is one of the best things that could have happened to most of us. Because there were times when we knew this was the vehicle. We knew this was the way. We knew this was the opportunity for generational wealth, but we just didn't have time. We just had so many things to do. We were just juggling so many things. So now look, you're forced to be in front of that computer as long as you need to be. You're forced to have your cell phone with you all day. You're forced to be in the house, putting yourself in a position to watch all the academy videos you need to watch to get started, putting yourself in a position to be able to watch all of the Market Talks videos and Talk with the Finance Doctor videos because everything is recorded. What a wonderful opportunity for you to take the next 30 to 60 days and really put yourself on the other side of this information. Really do everything you need to be able to learn this. And I love it. Every time Ms. Dyer says it, you are the signal. I get excited because there are just so many situations in our world where we encourage people to memorize and regurgitate. Think about it. I'm a product of one of them. I have the highest degree in the land. I have a terminal degree. So people look at me with a certain level of esteem and respect because of the title. But the title doesn't necessarily give you the opportunity and the skill set to be able to apply it at the highest level. So yes, I'm proud of my PhD in finance and economics, but you have an opportunity to do something greater because you have an opportunity to perform in the financial markets at the highest level. So just know and understand that this call is designed for me to answer any and every question that you possibly could have on economic development, economic empowerment. What is that? What is economic empowerment? To me, economic empowerment is personal finance on steroids. Personal finance means you're thinking about, you are acting on, you're finding out all of the specifics and particulars on anything that you have to do as a family, which is going to involve transactions with money coming in and money going out. But when you have the opportunity to operate in the Bythewoodism, if you know what you're doing, you will always have a job. If you know why you're doing it, you will always be the boss. Now you have the opportunity for economic empowerment. Now you can put yourself in a position where you understand it so well, you not only understand the particular techniques and strategies that you can utilize to put yourself on the right path, but you also understand the mindset or the incentive that the institution has, and you operate within that. You know, if you think about it, on Tuesday, we got into a very mild, minor debate about this concept of personal finance is the only area of our society where the individuals who provide the information about the products are also the individuals that are selling it. And all that means is that the individual that's talking, as non-malicious as they are, they still have a subconscious and or conscious. Let me say it again. The individual speaking to you has a subconscious and or conscious position of explaining things in a way which will benefit the organization. And you need to understand this about Dr. Craig Bythewood. I am not anti-institution. I'm pro-household. Because I know that if we understand it like this, if we look at it like this, we put ourselves in the right position to know what to say, to know what to ask, to have the proper applied knowledge to kind of extract everything that we need. So let me give you an example. In my younger days, I'm 53 right now. 53 is the new 23. In my younger days, I used to have a concept called the hunter and the lion. And let me explain that to you real quick. There's an African proverb. There's an African proverb where a little boy asks his father, "Father, why does the lion always die at the end of the story?" And the father says, "It will always be that way until the lion begins to write the story." So I used to use that as a form of economic empowerment by saying, you need to understand that the institutions are the ones writing our economic story. And we die an economic death every time there's a conversation. So the way in which we put ourselves in the position as the lions is to write our own economic story. Now, I really want you to hear me because this particular point I'm making has two very important takeaways. Number one, that is the way I teach, because when you understand it for yourself, you can write your own economic story. When you write your own economic story, you put yourself in a position where you can be the hero and you can be in the driver's seat and you can pose the questions and position yourself in a way in which you're going to benefit. But here's the more important piece, and I really want you all to dial into this. Notice I said I used to teach that. Notice I said that I used to talk about that. And let me tell you why I don't talk about that anymore. Because I started noticing a very interesting phenomenon. I'm teaching people that we are dying an economic death in the analogy when we look at financial institutions. That is technically a victim mentality because you're putting yourself in the thought process of the company doing something to you. And I started recognizing that in my own personal life, I started having issue after issue after issue with banks, with insurance companies, with institutions. Just over and over and over, these institutions kept doing things that just didn't even make logical sense. And then it hit me. The hunter and the lion was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was a cute analogy. It allowed us to be economically empowered, but it also looked at us as the lion getting killed at the end of the story, and I kept getting killed. So I say all that to say this. To me, one of the best questions ever in a Talk with the Finance Doctor's 2-year history, one of the best questions ever was asked at 10:32 Eastern when we finished at 10:30. And that question was, Finance Doctor, Dr. B, how do we get out of our own way? How do we get out of our own way? I really appreciated that question because that question speaks to an honesty that we don't always walk in. We know that this is the vehicle. We know that this is it. There's no question about that. This is it. And what has happened in the last few months just reinforces what we already knew. This is the vehicle. This is a vehicle that is economically insulated. This is a vehicle that is economically insulated. Whatever happens, you're good. But we have to be real about the fact that there is a real life phenomenon where lottery winners within 2 to 5 years are broke again. Why is that? Because it's not about the money. It's about the mindset. It's not about the money. It's about the mindset. So if you get the money and you maintain the same mindset, then guess what? You got in your way. You got in your way. So I appreciate the question because I know this for a fact. There are people in our Telegram chat who are winning. We are doing it. We are learning the strategy. Tasha Dyer has made this so easy for us to master it. The I Am Academy does such a good job of giving us the infrastructure so that we can win. But I know this. There are people on our Telegram chat who are silently suffering because they're watching all the wins and they're watching all of the 777s, but they haven't reached that level yet. They haven't been able to get that. And I know why. And so does the person who asked that question, because you're in your own way. 10% of this game is technique, skill, and knowledge. 90% of this game is mindset. So tonight's Finance Doctor will be devoted to answering that question. How do I get out of my own way? And I already know, you don't even have to put in the chat because, it's embarrassing. Oh, you're talking to me? I know I'm talking to someone because that's the way human minds work. So it's a prophecy, but it's not really a prophecy because if you get 2,400 people in a group, there's a large percentage of them that are going to have mindset issues when they first come in contact with this material. Why? Because it's a paradigm shift. Why? Because it represents moving to another level. And that's what happens. Thank you, Ms. Anderson, for saying that. That's what happens when we have an opportunity to go forward. We get in our own way. So understand first, it's normal and it's natural. It's normal and it's natural. And you need to understand this. Feeling guilty, low vibration. Attacking yourself because you're in your way, low vibration. Having an issue with yourself because you're mad and you haven't gotten there and you're not getting the 777s, low vibration. Pushing through, high vibration. Being hopeful, high vibration. Knowing that you want to put your mind on the outcome and not the process, high vibration. Knowing that you're going to keep your eyes on the prize, high vibration. So this conversation is making you realize it's okay. That's how it works. Let me give you a perfect example. In 1997, BYOBers, I had the opportunity to be a consultant for the Hewlett-Packard Company in Palo Alto, California. Wonderful summer, one of the best 4 months of my life. Loved Northern California, really pretty, great company, 80,000 employees at the time, good project. So went out there and I said this to myself, self, if you're gonna be out there for 4 months, you should have a car. But you live in Tallahassee, Florida. I was working as a professor at Florida A&M at the time. And now my daughter's at Florida A&M, full circle. And bottom line is I wanted my car out there, so I shipped it. Shipped my car out there, got out there driving in San Francisco. What do they have in San Francisco? High hills. So my car was a stick shift and I noticed something. I noticed that every time I got in my car on a high hill, in order for me to put my car in first gear, guess what it did? It rocked back. Every time I put my car in first gear, it rocked back. And I noticed something very interesting. The higher the hill, the more the rock back. I wonder how many people heard me just then. The more rock back you have right now, the higher the ascension you're about to get on. So love your rock backs. Be happy about your rock backs because All of these rock backs are just expressing to you that you are about to go to a next level. If there's no rock back, there's no ascension. You need to understand that. If I'm driving in my car and there's a light on that says engine light, I'm not going to ignore it because it's a signal. It's a signal to me that something is going on. Well, that's what the rock back is. A rock back is a signal to you that you're about to go to the next level. If there's no rock back, there's no signal. So instead of having guilty feelings, instead of attacking yourself, be happy about the rock back because it's your signal that you're about to blow up, dog. So if you think about it, it is literally what is happening and what is supposed to happen. Let me give you another example. When people are going to drug rehab, excuse me, the first thing they say to them on the first day of drug rehab is, hey, you are going to recognize that relapse is a necessary part of recovery. So anytime you relapse, it means that you're moving toward your recovery. So some of the things that you're going through right now, some of these in your way scenarios, they're just relapses on the way to your recovery. And your recovery means that you could become a six-figure trader. What do you have to do? Just keep showing up. It's just that simple. What has to happen for me not to be a six-figure trader? Stop showing up. What a wonderful situation we have that we know all we have to do is show up. And I want you to hear this. You would be successful at this game right here without the Be Your Own Bank movement. But the Be Your Own movement just made it quicker. It just put some wind beneath your wings. It just gave you a community that you can hook up into. All you have to do is show up. I can give you story after story after story after story of people who came in and they got in their own way. And then eventually, what happened? Eventually, it got to the point where, like someone typed in the chat, it clicked. It clicked. Just keep showing up. So Mr. Rogers said something this morning that I thought was pretty cool. You know, we have a habit of stealing each other's stuff. So when he said that, I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and I'm going to use it in a speech, and nobody will even know that he said it first. So he said, we're riding the wave, and we just want to buy the whole ocean. Boy, that thing just, I got goosebumps when he said that. We just want to buy the whole ocean. I love that. And what it made me think of is this. We live in a universe where literally every part of us is connected to every part of the universe. Fibonacci, you know, why even go Fibonacci? Let's go simpler than that. The body is 75% water and the earth is 75% water. Coincidence? So literally, if you take a drop of ocean water, a drop, and you put it on a microscope, it has the same molecular structure as the entire ocean. What's your point in finance, doctor? This isn't about science. My point is that when you recognize that everything works the same way, the animal kingdom, the human kingdom, the financial markets, they all work the same way. So one of the things that we can do to get out of our own way, one of the things that we can do to put ourselves on the right path is we can recognize that we, in our energetic patterns, stop. What does that mean? Everything's energy. You learn that in science. Everything's energy. Energy is not to be created or destroyed. You just move it. You just transmute it. You take it from one thing and put it to the other. So the energy in which you and I operate, the patterns that you and I operate in, are exactly the same as everything else in the universe. So let me use an example from the market to show you exactly why you're in your own way. The market's moving. It's trending up. And then it hits a resistance. It hits a resistance line. And once it hits the resistance line, guess what happens? When it hits the resistance line, it pulls back. When it hits the resistance line, it pulls back. And sometime after it pulls back, it'll retest. Then after it retests, after it hits the resistance line, after it encounters the resistance, after it has a pullback, guess what it does? Shoots right up. That is the way you and I operate emotionally when we're about to increase paradigms. That's what happens when you and I are about to go from one mindset to another. That's what happens when you and I are in a situation where we were always stuck at that same amount. No matter what I did, I just couldn't get over $50,000. No matter what I did, I just couldn't get over $100,000. Whatever your number is, when you get to that number, guess what? You hit resistance. Guess what? You hit that number and you pull back. But what you and I have a pattern of doing is we get to that resistance point and we stop. But now that we understand that we're just like the market, we're going to pull back. We're going to have some issues. We're going to have some scenarios that are going to take place. But the scenarios are literally there so that you can push through and ascend. So you can push through and get to the next level. So those of you that feel like you're in your own way, recognize this. That's exactly where you're supposed to be. All you have to do is keep showing up. Keep plugging in. The answer to the question, how do I get out of my own way? By recognizing why you're in your own way and continuing to use these principles, use this understanding, and be in the best position to keep elevating, to keep moving forward. When you do that, eventually, like the person said in the chat, it will click. And when it clicks, you get out of your own way. Here's an example. Here's another example. This is how you get out of your own way. You recognize something. You recognize that we really are emotional creatures. Of course, we're spiritual creatures having the physical experiences, but emotions give us a signal of how we're moving. I am the signal. So emotions give us a signal of how things work. So let me explain to you with this. And I apologize to the old heads because you've heard this story before, but it is so relevant to the question, how do I get out of my own way? So there was a couple, husband and wife, and they were in Phoenix, Arizona. And this couple who was in Phoenix, Arizona, they decided they wanted to go to San Diego, California. So what the couple did was they got in their RV, their recreational vehicle, and they began to travel from Phoenix, Arizona to San Diego, California. They wanted to travel from Phoenix, Arizona to San Diego, California. Now, here's how it works. They got in the RV and they set their navigation system. So navigation system, boop, 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 San Diego, California. Now, geographically, the path from Phoenix, Arizona to San Diego, California is pretty straightforward. However, there's a lot of desert in that area, a lot of desert. And in the desert, guess what? There's no infrastructure. Guess what? There are no cell phone towers. So what happened to them was as they were traveling from Phoenix, Arizona to San Diego, California, some of the areas they were in with no cell phone coverage, the navigation began to malfunction. And when the navigation began to malfunction, guess what? They were turned around and they were going backwards toward Phoenix. So let me get this straight. Phoenix, Arizona, that's where they were. San Diego, California, that's where they wanted to go. Set the navigation system. If it was working, they were going towards San Diego. If it wasn't working, they were going back toward Phoenix. Thank you for hearing that setup. Here's the payoff. Phoenix, Arizona, BYOBers. Phoenix, Arizona is where you are right now. It is your current income. It is your current mindset. It is your current set of circumstances. It is the current way you feel about yourself. It's the current way you feel about your future. It is where you are right now. It is your present. San Diego, California represents your desires, what you want, what you want to accomplish. I'm not talking about the little want you put on the index card. I'm talking about the real deep down things that you want to experience, the things that you want to do, the ways in which you want to grow, the ways in which you want to contribute. Your real desires are San Diego, California. Phoenix, Arizona is where you are right now. San Diego, California represents where you want to go, your desires. The navigation system, your emotions. The navigation system, your emotions. Remember, when the navigation system was working, they were moving toward their destination. But when the navigation system was not working, they were moving backwards. So in this analogy, your emotions are working when you feel good. Your emotions are not working when you feel bad. Your navigation system of emotions, when you feel good, it means you're vibrating high. You're focusing on things like happiness, peace, hope, comfort. I feel good. I feel good. You're moving towards your desires. You're at a vibration where you match your desires. See, that's the thing. That's the thing we miss sometimes. This is one of the reasons why we get in our own way. We need to recognize, ladies and gentlemen, that you have to be at a vibration that matches your desire. So let's look at the other side of the emotions. When your navigation systems are not working, that means your emotions have you feeling bad. That means you're operating in low vibration. I'm angry. I'm upset. I am jealous. I am guilty. I'm frustrated. I'm stressed. There are so many times a day when you make low vibration comments. Remember, it says in the word of God, I am that I am. So if you say, I am mad, you're going back to Phoenix. If you say, I'm upset, you're going back to Phoenix. If you say, I'm frustrated, you're going back to Phoenix. If you say, I am stressed, I'm overwhelmed, you're going back to Phoenix. You're going back to where you were. You're pulling back and you're going into another direction. If you are going to reach your goals, if you're going to get to your destination, you have to recognize that your emotions are telling you something. Your emotions are telling you how you feel. We've got to flip it, and we've got to operate in a high vibration at all times. Here's a quick little example to help you to do it. How do I get out of my own way? By recognizing the truth of this. You know where most of our low vibration reactions come from? You know where most of our low vibration reactions come from? You know where most of our low vibration reactions come from? People. People. So you will stay in a high vibration and you will continue to move towards your goals if you remember this. People do not do and say things to you. They do and say things. Let me say it again. People do not do and say things to you. They do and say things, but you take it personal. You talk about what they said to you, what they did to you. You blog about it. You call 10 people. Guess what? You're in a low vibration, so you're going to stay where you are. But if you let it go and you do what I do when somebody does something or says something and I mistakenly think it's toward me, I say, person, I bless you with pure love and light. Person, I bless you with pure love and light. Try it right now. Right now, I know, human, that you pissed off at somebody. I know, human, that you didn't follow this advice and you thought that somebody who said something and did something did to you. So right now, let's try this. Right now, think about that person that pissed you off, that's keeping you in Phoenix. For real? You gonna let somebody like that keep you from going to San Diego? Seriously? Somebody with that kind of personality, you're going to allow them to keep you in Phoenix? You know I'm telling the truth. You know I'm right. I'm looking dead in your soul right now. You know I'm telling the truth. So let's try it right now. Take that person who pissed you off and say it. Person, I bless you with pure love and light. Say it out loud. Say it again. Person, I bless you with pure love and light. Try it one more time. Person, I bless you with pure love and light. Now, if you're real with me, that felt good. You felt lighter. And see, that's the thing. If you keep saying it over and over and over and over, eventually you'll feel differently about the person. And when you feel differently about the person, hear me, I didn't change the person. I didn't change the person. I changed how I felt about the person. I changed my response to the person. Because it doesn't matter what the person did or said, you're still moving backwards because of your reaction. So find a way to always vibrate high no matter what. People do not do and say things to you. They just do and say things. Think about it. Let's keep it real. If you died tomorrow, you really think that person would be different? Oh, well, if I died, they wouldn't say stuff like that. Oh, well, if I died, they would do the same thing. They're just being who they are. So you're the one that chose to allow it to affect your vibration. And here's the thing you really need to hear. We're going to go there. Let's go there from this great question. There's a concept called, if you spot it, you got it. And it comes from the fact that psychologically, subconsciously, now think about it, y'all. Let's go ahead and get rid of that excuse and defense you're about to give me in your mind. If it's subconsciously, you don't know it. Subconsciously, we only get bothered by things that are inside of us. It's something that you don't know is inside of you. It's something that is suppressed, something that you're pushing down on, something you experienced, something a parent did. That's why it pisses you off. So if you point at the person and say, you did this, you said that, low vibration. But if instead you use this little trick that I use on life coaching clients, if there's something that somebody is doing and it's really bothering you, think of places in your life where you might be doing the same thing. Or put it to you like this. Somebody's disrespecting you. So instead of looking at them and saying, you're disrespecting me, right then go to everybody in your life and show them more respect. I guarantee you, when you start showing other people more respect, instead of pointing to people who are disrespecting you, your vibration rises. And guess what? That person goes away. It's not that they stop being them, it's that you stop perceiving them as disrespecting you. The question was, how do I get out of my way? By staying at a high vibration. How do I get out of my way? By staying at a high vibration. Well, let me ask you this. How do I get out of my way? By staying at a high vibration. I literally could do a talk with a finance doctor about this every single time. And there'll be a new way of me saying the same thing. Stay at a high vibration. So for those of you that are experiencing this, understand it's okay. You're supposed to have the rock back. You're supposed to pull back. You're supposed to hit resistance before you break through to another paradigm. The resistance is just a signal that you're in the right place, doing the right thing. Let me give a quick example, which just got divinely downloaded. We have a business partner, and this business partner happens to be on this call right now. And this business partner talked to me about a transaction they wanted to do with their child. Their child's an adult. So I want to do the transaction with the child, but the child's spouse is giving me a lot of trouble. The child's spouse was saying things like I need to see a lawyer and this is not going to work and I got an issue with this, I got a problem with this. So the business partner was giving me all the reasons why they didn't like what the person was saying, the spouse was saying, the spouse-in-law. So the child-in-law. So this is what I said. I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. I want you to write on a piece of paper, name, comma, I bless you with pure love and light. And I want you to say it every day. And the person responded and said, yeah, but you don't understand because they do this. Write it down on a piece of paper, blank, I bless you with pure love and light, and do it every day, all day. Do you know, 2 months later, that business partner texted me and said, I'm on my way to do this transaction. And I said, well, who you with? And they told me who they were with. And one of the people was the spouse-in-law. I said, wait a minute, isn't that the same one that gave you all that resistance? Said, yeah, but I did what you told me. And I kept saying, blank, I bless you with pure love and light. And then all of a sudden, they started calling me all the time. And they started telling me all the reasons why they wanted to do the transaction. I'm telling you, this crap works. When you operate at a high vibration, everything changes. Wayne Dyer said, when you change the way you see things, the things you see change. So if you want to be a successful trader, you want to be the signal, you want to put yourself in a position, you want to get out of your own way, you have to vibrate high at all times. This has been a talk with the finance doctor. I really appreciate that question. By the way, was that Walker that asked that question? I'd like to give you credit. Walker, put in the text or unmute your mic and tell me if you were the one that asked that question. Okay, not sure if that was him. You're very welcome, but I know this. Whoever asked that question, you were being a vessel. You were being a vessel because there are people on this call who needed that. There are people on this call whose spirits have been released in a new way of thinking. So I thank that person for asking that question, because I've been praying and meditating on that since Tuesday night at 10:32, and I knew this was going to bless some people, and I really appreciate that question being asked. And again, that's the power of the unmuted mic. You don't ask the question, you don't unmute your mic and talk, then it doesn't get to the people. Get blessed when you unmute your mic and talk. So thank you very much for all your kind comments in the chat. This has been a talk with the finance doctor. And I will say one more thing. You have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that when you're speaking from the heart like this, when you're speaking from the spirit, your words always are what I call a rubber mirror. Your words are a rubber mirror, which means they come out of your mouth and they bounce back in your face. So one of the individuals who needed this talk, who needed to hear these words, who needed this reminder, was Dr. Craig Bythewood. So again, thank you for asking that question, whoever that was, and thank you very much for listening. Thank you for your kind chats. Thank you for dialing in and wanting a better life for you and your children, because that's what this is about. This has been a talk with the finance doctor, and this will officially end this call. Love you all.